Hello, how you doing? This is Chris Chambers, former Miami Dolphins wide receiver. Follow the Fin Addicts podcast and check out the Fin Addicts Network on YouTube.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Fin Addicts Miami Dolphin podcast. I am your host, Jason Sarney, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Byrne. Brian, how you doing?
I'm really good, Jason. It's we're doing this a lot earlier than normal. So excuse my morning voice, but we should have a lot of fun. We have a very special guest. I'm excited to be on with both of you.
We do have a very special guest and excited as well. The very special guest is former Miami Dolphin running back and first-round pick, Sammie Smith. Sammie, how are you doing? And good morning to you, sir.
Hey, man, I'm blessed. I'm doing very well. Thank you guys for having me on. I know I'm living in the central time zone, so I'm an hour ahead of you guys. So sorry I had to make y'all get going a little bit earlier than you normally do, but I'm a pretty early riser here. So thanks again for having me on, man, and I'm excited about spending this time with you guys.
Of course, no worries. We're excited to have you. Sammie, you were drafted 9th overall, 1989 by the Dolphins. I'm like a sucker for the draft. I love draft stories. What was that night like for you, and anything else you can tell us about the draft process?
Well, of course, you go into it not knowing what's going to happen. You know that you have an opportunity to go in a certain little window, and fortunately for me, I was so excited about having the opportunity to be drafted by the Miami Dolphins and Coach Shula, and having a chance to go down and play with Dan Marino and the Marks brothers, all the great players that they had there. And then I think there was a special added treat that I got an opportunity to go and play with one of my college rivalries, Louis Oliver, being the other first-round draft pick that year. We were great friends and competed against each other, and we remained really close today. We communicate today. He supports me in ministry here at Ole Miss with FCA. So it was a pretty special night, man, and I was super excited about the opportunity to stay at home in Florida.
Quick follow-up on that. We had O.J. McDuffie on, and he said in that first training camp, he was going with the ones, I think, for one day, and he ran a miss route, and he didn't get it. Dan pulled him out and didn't get a chance to run with the ones again. How was your experience that first year with Dan Marino?
It was good. I came in a little bit late. I was excited about, getting to camp and getting to work, and I wanted to get my career off to a great start, but there was a little snag there with some contract stuff, and when we finally got it done, just being able to come out there and get some work in, and to get to learn and know the rest of the players, and just to see what we were going to have and the direction that the football team was going to be trying to go that year. So it was a special time. Dan spent a lot of time and was a very great teammate, as well as all the other guys on the team, man. They were excited about the prospects for the Dolphins moving forward, and we were just ready to get going and get the game started.
That's a great reference that you had about one of my all-time favorites, Louis Oliver. I just have to have a quick little sidebar on that. You came into the Dolphins 1989. 1990 was like my first year as like a huge football fan, Dolphin fan. And one of the first memories that I have is just Louis Oliver hitting people with that orange chin strap and those big shoulder pads. So he's like my 5th or 6th all-time Dolphin. So love Louis Oliver. That's a great little sidebar. But anyway, back to your college career transition into the NFL. You had legendary coach Bobby Bowden in college. And then you went to legendary Don Shula, the late, great Don Shula. So how is it playing for both of those icons, and how is the transition going from one to the other?
Well, man, it was certainly a blessing. I view Coach Bowden undoubtedly in my mind as probably the top 2 or 3 greatest coaches to ever coach the game of college football, and a man that I respect greatly, that I communicate with still today, that has been instrumental in, guiding me to being where I am at today, rebuilding my life, and always leaning on him for advice. He still gives advice today, all these years later. He's one that I lean on, and then of course having the opportunity to go and play for without a doubt, the greatest pro football coach, the winningest coach, just the history of his legacy and, the things that he accomplished there, having the only undefeated season, winning, a couple Super Bowls there in Miami, just being just a great football coach, man. So it was, again, an opportunity that I don't know that many people can say that they've had. And then I think about just the players that I got a chance to play with, to play with Deion Sanders at Florida State. We were both classmates and came in the same year, got drafted in the same draft. We still remain good friends today. And Dan Marino, Jim Jensen, Farrell Edmonds is a great friend of mine. Mark Higgs, I still communicate from time to time with him. So just the camaraderie of both of those entities, from college and then having the opportunity to play at Miami, man, I, created and maintained some great friendships and some lifelong guys and, connections that, are very, very meaningful to me.
Now I got to take what Jason just said. One of my favorites was Jim Jensen, the guy that, I'm a little older than Jason. So he was, never really in the limelight, but he was always one of my favorites, underrated Dolphin. But Sammie, as we know, we lost Coach Shula this year. Just a tragedy, as not only in football, but just an amazing human being. But we're asking all the former players and media who worked with the coach this year, if you have like a story or a short or a quip or anything about Coach Shula to kind of celebrate his life that you can share with us.
Well, I think for me personally, I got to see a side of Coach Shula that probably many wouldn't get to see unless you played for him. Man, he was a demanding coach. He expected excellence, and he, pushed his players to be the best that they could be. But, during a time in my life down there in Miami where things weren't going as well as I would have liked them to, I just can remember his compassion, and his willing to put his arms around you and say, man, I got you, and encourage you. So I think that may be something that, from an outsider, you wouldn't know. But, man, what a great man he was, a great football coach, a great human being, and just a man that had another side to him, again, that maybe you wouldn't see, that was very compassionate and, very caring for the players that he had under his tutelage.
OJ McDuffie was talking very similar about him, and he said that he thinks you guys may have got a little bit of different Shula, that maybe the guys in the 70s got a much harder guy than you guys in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yes. Well, it was a different ball game, and it continues to, be different. It continues to grow every year. There's some differences that pop up in the game of football, not only on the pro level, but here in the college levels too, as we can see, with everything that's going on these days.
Sammie, wanted to get into, the success that you had on the football field, in your Dolphin career, like 1990 specifically, my rookie year as a Dolphin fan, as Brian alluded, I was a little younger than him, but you led the team with rushing TDs, I think you, if I remember correctly, caught a pass from Marino too that year in the air, and, Kansas City playoff win. What was your fondest memories of maybe that year or just overall your career as a Miami Dolphin on the field?
Well, I mean, it was really exciting, for I think 2 years in a row to make it to the playoffs, and again, things were just looking up. I'll never forget the 1990 year. I think it was a game against Kansas City there at home that, we needed a 4th and 1 to continue a drive and to go down and score and to put us in the playoffs. And Coach Shula trusted me with that opportunity to make that first down, and I was able to get it. And then you fast forward a year ahead after that, and coming off of an injury during preseason, and that being my first game, going to play against Kansas City with no camp really behind me, not really ready to play football, and how the tables turn. I have a crucial fumble in that game that gets returned for a touchdown, and then the spiral starts, with the fans and my confidence level. And, when you look back on things like that, man, there's a lot of great things that you have that you can lean on, that, man, you know, you had a great time, but then it's football, it's sports, and things aren't going to always be rosy. So there were some difficult times there too. But I would say, man, really the thing that I remember most is that I loved playing for the Dolphins. I loved playing with the teammates that I had there, man, and no one wanted to win more than I did. And I was really regretful that it didn't turn out the best, but you know, it's life. And but man, fond memories of the Dolphins. I hold on to those because those were, you know, those are the things we're supposed to hold on to, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well said,
Yeah.
Sammie.
What is, we've asked a lot of players this, you know, and you're obviously retired. What is the biggest thing you miss from the playing days at Florida State and Miami?
Well, I think really just the preparation for before the game, you know, and the game day, of course, man. I enjoyed playing the game of football. It certainly goes from just, you know, a bunch of young kids per se out there, you know, having fun, having dreams, having a goal and a direction that they're trying to get, which is the ultimate goal for a football player, is to make it to the NFL. That's the highest level. So, you know, playing in college is a little different, man. It was just so much fun to suit up. And then you had your rivalries, you know, Florida. We got a chance to play some other SEC teams while I was there and beat up on them quite often, you know, with Auburn. So, you know, it was a little different game. Of course, when you got to the professional level, now it's a business. You still enjoy the Sundays, and if you occasionally get a play on a Monday night. But just the preparation, man, just being a part of the team, just the cohesiveness that you have and your brotherhood with those guys, and just, you know, being able to compete with one another, man, with a goal in mind of, you know, going out every week and winning. Those are the things I miss. But I think the role that I have now, man, is so rewarding because, you know, I get an opportunity to share my experience, the highs and the lows, and to help coaches now and athletes, you know, football players navigate through the challenges, you know, that are on and off the field, man. And God has blessed me with an amazing opportunity here, and I'm so thankful for what I do now.
A lot of players have told us that the answer to that question is the locker room. They just want to get back in the building with the guys. But as you see with the Ole Miss T-shirt, and we'll get into that in a bit, but you're a part of Ole Miss football, so you might not have said that because you still have that locker room element.
Yeah.
But shifting gears a little bit, Sammie, you know, for a couple of years, you were definitely one of my favorite Dolphins. But that really wasn't why I compelled you to jump on this show. For, you know, 9 years ago, I was a hopeless heroin addict, and literally the best I could wish for was death. And but God decided he definitely had another plan for me, and he showed me a lot of grace and mercy. And through helping others, my life has revolutionized. And I have a successful career in information technology. I get to do my passion here with the Fin Addicts Network. You have a very similar story. Can you take us what transpired, you know, like right after football and what happened with there? And then after that, we'll get into how you ended up turning that around.
Well, I hope, like all professional athletes, I had dreams when my career was over to transition into something meaningful and to be involved in things that would help people out. And that was the direction that I was going. I had started a development company, was building homes for low-income folks in my area that may have not had the credit to, you know, go and buy a home. And my vision was, my wife and I at the time were to hold mortgages for these folks, you know, get them in the home, help them build their credit up, and then, you know, maybe 3-4 years down the road, them be able to get a conventional mortgage, buy that home from us. And that was a business I was involved in, and it started out really well. And I got connected, man, with some lifelong friends, guys that I had known, you know, since high school, and start engaging with them. And next thing I know, you know, I've got one of them asking me to borrow some money, and I certainly lent it to him. He had been a friend that had followed me and had helped me out from time to time when I was in college, just one of my closest friends. And I knew in my heart that he was engaged in stuff that was wrong, but never thought that I would get pulled into it. And that's just the thing that I would say, when you don't have specific goals, man, that you're pursuing, and then when you're used to being a part of a team and the camaraderie of the locker room, and then that's taken away, the door is open for you to be susceptible to some things that maybe you would normally get involved in. And that's what happened to me. I ended up lending him money. Next thing I know, a few months down the road, I'm involved in a drug conspiracy that would radically change my life, for the negative portion. But when I look at the other end of it, man, it changed my life. That propelled me to who I am today. It put me in a position where on that first night when I was arrested for being a part of that drug conspiracy, that I got an opportunity for God to meet me face to face, in a jail cell there in Orlando. And I had an opportunity to really look at how I had allowed the enemy just to invade my life, man, and invade my space. The word tells us that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, right? Well, I'm thankful that God put me in the position that he did in jail at that time, that I could truly hear from him and see that the mistakes and the way that I had allowed myself not to follow the path he had for me. So that was needful for me. I'm thankful for that time because, again, it got me to be who I am today. And, I can say that my life got transformed that first night that I was in jail, where I really settled in and thank God for everything that he had done for me. And I asked for forgiveness for how I had not been frugal with everything that he had given me. So that was a life-changing day for me. Getting arrested and going to jail that first night truly set me on the course and the path of where I'm at today.
I can definitely, relate to that. A lot of people with my past, you would not think that I would say I'm grateful for everything that happened and that led to that, but I absolutely am, because it led me to a new life that ended up being more rewarding. A quick few follow-up questions on how long were you ended up in jail for?
I think I was inside for almost 6 years. And then, of course, I had some time afterwards with probation stuff. So a total of maybe 6 years in and a few years of probation.
And when you got out, how did you turn that? Obviously, we're looking at you, you're in an Ole Miss shirt and you're affiliated with Ole Miss football today. How did you turn that negative into the positive that it is in your life today? And what role do you have currently with that?
Well, I can tell you, God started working on me immediately. When I tell you what happened on that first night, it was something that went on for the next, 6 years or so that I was there. My life was getting transformed. I knew that God had a plan for me. I knew that he had things that he wanted me to do when I got out that were bigger than, ever running a touchdown or ever having a fumble. That there was so much more to life that he had poured into me that he wanted to bring out. And Brian, I would tell you this, because certainly you're on my heart and the things that you went through, that, man, a testimony, right? And you have one, just like I have. Everyone has a testimony. And it's when you've been tested in something, right? And you come on the other side of it and you're able to help people, you're able to share, you're able to be transparent about what happened in your life, that, man, it can help someone else out. So I would just say, man, that just going through that process, I knew God had plans for me. At the end of my federal sentence, I was up in Edgefield, South Carolina, and the warden asked me if I would be willing to leave out of the facility and go and speak to some high schools locally. So here I am. Tell me that's not God's blessing. I'm in prison, right? And God is opening the door for me to be able to go out and share locally with kids. And I had the opportunity to share with Florida State's football team from video from prison when they were going through some stuff there back in the Peter Warwick time. I think it was during the Free Shoes University time. All that stuff was going on. But God just opens the door, man. When you align yourself, man, and you realize that, hey, I'm just a human being. I'm flawed. I'm not going to always make the best decisions. I'm no different than anyone else, right? And you don't beat yourself up about it, then God can use you. And so I knew he had plans for me. And when I got out, man, I got opportunities to speak at bowl games. I was down in Miami. I kept wondering, when am I going to get to speak at a bowl game in Miami, right? A Capital One breakfast. And certainly it happened in 2012 or 13 when Florida State played, I think, Northern Illinois down there. So that was my first opportunity to get back in Miami and share, you know, in front of some of the fans down there. And what an impactful day that was for me to share some of the experiences that I had in Miami. And then to have some fans that were in the stands that day that may have been booing come up to me after that breakfast, man, and hug me with tears in their eyes, and me being able to forgive them forgiving me talking about the loss of my son as a Dolphin player to SIDS, you know, in 1990. And so, man, it's just been a whirlwind ride, and I'm just thankful that God has me doing what I'm doing now, and that's working as the character director development personnel here at Ole Miss, and being able to walk alongside these players and coaches.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Wow, that was extremely poignant, beautiful, Sammie, and thank you both for really sharing this. And just before I, go on another question, you say everything really happens for a reason, the grace of God, and, to share a little bit about me, Brian knows this, Brian and I actually just really kind of found each other on Twitter, with a bunch of other of our colleagues a couple of months ago. Brian and I were in the same college for a year. We didn't even know it. And we just, a lot of things just unconnected or connected. And hearing you, I judge people not on their successes, but what they do after their failures. It's very easy for someone who's a successful person, for someone to say, wow, that's really impressive. Great. But how you pick yourself up after adversity, after knowing what Brian is doing, it's motivational for me. So thank you both for having the guts to share that. And as a son of two educators, it made me extremely happy to find out that you, at 52, went back and you earned your degree. That is something that is, I might want to get a master's degree. I don't have one yet, but I'm 39. I got time. So can you tell us how that, what made you make that decision and what inspired you to do so?
Well, I think, again, man, God opens the doors. I left college a year early to enter the draft in 1989. I still had a year of eligibility left. And it was a promise that I made to my mom and my dad that I would go back and finish school. And as life moves on, I saw that, man, I never got it done. I actually went back to Tallahassee in 1994 and enrolled with the intent on finishing. And 2 weeks in, I was like, nah, this ain't for me right now. And I withdrew. So coming here and having the chance again to work alongside these athletes, one of my main testimonies to them, and one of the main things that I tried to encourage them to do is, man, God's blessed you with an amazing opportunity to be a Division I college football player in the SEC. I say, but more importantly, he's blessed you with an opportunity to get an education, so make sure you don't leave here without your degree. And that was something that I did for the first 2 years, pouring in and telling these guys this. And then God convicted me one day, and he says, you know what, you're giving great advice. He says, well, man, you left, 30-something years ago, and you didn't go back and finish, right? So I started looking into it. I told the whole team that, man, I'm going to finish my degree. I've been convicted. I need to walk the talk, that I'm talking. I need to get out and walk it. And so I enrolled at the local community college here for one semester and did everything I needed to do to get enrolled at Ole Miss. And then I had 2 full semesters, man, of 5 classes in the fall last year during football season, and then 5 classes in the spring. And I can say that through the grace of God, man, I took a total of 14 classes to finish my degree in 3 semesters, and I made all A's in every one. So you can't tell me that's the grace of God, because, man, I was so concerned going back to school after 30 plus years as to, will I be able to focus? Will I be able to retain all of this stuff, right? And, man, what a journey it was. It was so fun watching God move in that situation and me accomplish that. And then to get that Ole Miss degree, University of Mississippi degree, was awfully special.
Sammie, just quick question. We know you have that character development role at Ole Miss, but has that ever come up with the NFL or maybe any other schools when players are getting in trouble going down that wrong path? Are you somebody that they ever call or bring in or just seek as a mentor?
Well, I've had quite a bit of communication with FCA from Florida. I worked down there for 4 or 5 years with FCA there in Central Florida, so I know the state director and guys down in Miami. I try to help my man down there, Big Mike, that works for the University of Miami. We communicate from time to time, and I've had some interest in me and my wife going back to Tallahassee and serving at Florida State, and maybe being the campus directors there on the campus, and possibly being an opportunity, to work with the football program there. But man, God has me where I'm at. I'm inclined to do what He tells me and not what selfish flesh would want to do. So I've had to decline here the last 2 years the opportunity to go back to my old school, and I know that I did it for the right reasons, because I keep seeing God showing up amazingly in our lives. My wife went back to school after many years. She will graduate in May of next year with her degree from Ole Miss. My son is a senior at Ole Miss, graduating in mechanical engineering. So this place has been tremendous to us, man. We can talk about what we do here and the impact that maybe God uses us for these athletes and coaches. But man, look at the impact that just being here and being a part of this university and this community has had on us as a family.
Beautifully said. And as I kind of mentioned, football is great. I'm a huge football fan. You can tell in my office, I'm insane Dolphins fan, but there is just some things that are just so transcendent and so much more important than football. And just the life that you have achieved after football, I see, it's more successful than if you were going into Canton. The effect that somebody like you that can have on so many young people is just amazing. But with that being said, Jason has to ask you another football related question, and we'll try to get you out of here.
Okay.
As much as I could talk to you about the motivation of life and life lessons, and I can do this all day with you, Sammie, but I'm not gonna allow that. But I gotta talk some 2020 Dolphin football. Are you still following the Dolphins, or are you an NFL fan these days?
Well, I watch as much as I can, and it's usually when I can catch the Dolphins on here. Sometimes we don't get the games here, but I certainly was watching the other day, man, and I was rooting for them. I really wanted them to get that win, the first win, and I'm so excited. I have to follow up. We started camp a few weeks ago, and we'll be playing here in another 2 weekends. But Benito Jones, that's down at Miami. Did he make the team?
He's on the practice squad. He's on the practice squad. Yeah.
Well,
hey.
And then Ken Webster,
cornerback.
So we've had those guys. So I'm certainly following, man, and I know the type of young men that they are, and I really believe Benito's going to have a chance to make a difference down there at some point when he gets an opportunity. And then, playing over here in the SEC West, I got a chance to play against Tua on several occasions, and it wasn't too good for us on this side. So I was excited when he got drafted by Miami, man. I think he's a special player, and just so glad that they're taking their time with him and going to, mold him, and he doesn't have to get thrown into the fray, in a hurry. Yeah, I follow the Dolphins, man. I root for them. I really would love to see them get back to the playoffs and get back to that winning tradition. It's been a long time, man, and so I'm excited about the organization down there, and Nat Moore, all those guys, man. There's still some down there that I still know. I think Harvey Green still works down there in some form with them. You know, and then I
The
get
great
text
Harvey
sometime
Green.
I get text sometime from old Stu Weinstein. So there's still some connections there, man. And I'm lifting those guys up. I'm praying for them, and would love to see them get back into a playoff team that competes every year to have a chance to play for it all.
Oh, that's just excellent, Sammie. We really appreciate everything. And, we thank you for the time. Best of luck in all of your endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
And can we get you out of here on a win prediction for the Dolphins? Everyone gives a win prediction number.
Maybe a double, maybe a win prediction.
Week?
We have Buffalo at home.
Oh, yeah. Give us a week 2 and then a seasonal.
Well, I'm going to give you a week 2. I think Miami gets the win this week. It's going to be a difficult one, though. Buffalo has a really good team. They've got a tight end there, Dawson Knox, that I had the chance to work alongside here with at Ole Miss. That's a great guy. It's going to be a great football player. But I think Miami comes together. The Heat down there hopefully will play a role in it and tire those Bills out, man, and they come away with the win this week. It's going to be a tough one, though.
And how about the Rebels? Are they're gonna win the SEC this year?
Well, I would like to make that bold prediction, but I will tell you that, man, we're a young team. We got a whole new coaching staff here, right? So Coach Kiffin is here, and a great group of guys. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to coach alongside some former Noles. I got Terrell Buckley here. That's with me. And
you got the gambler. You got T-Buck. That's great.
Yeah, Devin Bush is working in our recruiting department, and we've got a great group of guys here, man. But I can tell you, being behind and not having spring football this year, really puts our team behind. Similar to Florida State, having a whole new staff come in, new offense, new defense, and then not having spring. So I think that we've got some great talent here. I don't like making predictions and putting any pressure on our team here, but I tell my Seminole fans and friends that won't get a chance to play Florida this year because of the way the schedules are, and they're pretty upset about that. I'm sure Florida fans are pretty upset about not playing the Seminoles, but I tell my Seminole friends, we get Florida here at Ole Miss the first game, and we're going to do our best to try to take care of our business that week.
There you go.
Sammie, thank you so much for your time, and just thank you for being the human you are, and thank you for joining us. And as we always end our show, we got to go out with a fins up. So fins up, guys.
Hey, that's one of our that's our deal too. We're the land sharks here. That we do the fins up here too now.
That's right. Hey, God puts everybody in place for a reason, right?
Hey, he does. He does. Hey, guys, man, I'll be praying for your show, and hopefully sometime I can tune in and watch your show. Thanks for having me. Keep Ole Miss FCA lifted in your prayers, and I appreciate you guys for having me on, man.
Absolutely. Take care, Sammie.
Take care. Wow, Brian, was that a special guest? And Sammie, we thank you for coming on again. That was just poignant. I said the word, but it's a life lesson show, and it was awesome. And I really kind of am speechless, but it was really a terrific day to have Sammie start like this for me personally, and for all your listeners out there. Definitely words to live life by, and a lesson to live by. But on some happier and different topics now, we got some bills to pay, of course, and our buddy Savak put together a fun little message for everyone.
Right at this moment, there are men everywhere, doing manly things. Beards unkempt, hair run amok, leaving them in a state of hair despair. And that's just what we can see. Never mind what's going on downstairs. But it doesn't have to be that way. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and enter our promo code FINSUP to save an instant 20%, get free shipping, and help quell the hair despair in your life. These bearded bros are counting on you. Won't you help them?
So as always, Our friend Savak absolutely kills the video editing. Even commercials are fun here on the Fin Addicts Network. It just that left me speechless. That was so good.
Trying hard not to laugh. He's the best. He's the best.
Great interview, great commercial, and just a few things about the Fin Addicts Network before we get out of here. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, like 7 other podcasts. Wherever you can find a podcast, you can find the Fin Addicts Network. Please also check out our new partners. We have Dougley Do Wrong. He's on YouTube. He puts out amazing Miami Dolphins content. Give him a follow on YouTube. And we also recently joined up with Perfectville Podcasts. They're in all the same places you can find our podcast. Really fun group of guys. Definitely definitely check out, subscribe to their podcast. Please too, on the Fin Addicts, leave a review, leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. It helps us out immensely and lets us know, like how we could better serve you guys, because that's what we're here for the listeners. So also please follow us on the Fin Addicts Network on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Fin Addicts. Follow us on Twitter, Fin_Addicts. And lastly, we have a hotline, 786-309-7558. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you with record predictions. We want to hear from you with feedback on games, score predictions. And then we really, really want to hear from you after the Dolphins game on Sunday. Give us a call on the voicemail. Shoot us a text. Let us know how you're feeling after the game. We have a Xavier Howard card to give away, and we were supposed to give it away last week, but the winner, he already ended up winning a Tua jersey from us not that long ago, so he was gracious to keep it going. So call the hotline. Let us hear from you, and if you call, leave a voicemail, you'll be entered to win that Xavier Howard signed football card. And with that's what we got today. Amazing show. That really hit close to home for me. Some things just, a little bit more important than football. And it was a pleasure to talk to Sammie Smith. So for Jason Sarney, for the Fin Addicts Network, myself, Brian Byrne, fins up, everybody.
Fins up.
This episode brought to you in part by Thrive Fantasy, available in the App Store or Play Store, or by visiting their website, thrivefantasy.com. Use the promo code FinAddicts when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. Sign up and #PropUp today.